All right. I guess we're back. I haven't made one of these videos in quite a while. Backdrop is different. Yeah, I think I've just been neglecting a lot of things. This being one of them. I think this was what really helped me lock in before, made me realize that, it was a good thing to do. But yeah, a lot has happened in the 2 months that I've been radio silent. The last real video, because I'm not gonna say that the last video that I made captures that much. I was just really excited and had just come back from a really cool night and wanted to make something just to remember it, and just remember that I still love making these videos, just to look back on. But yeah, a lot has gone down. I would say, yeah, since that moment that I left my home to travel Europe, a lot has happened. I learned a lot on that trip, doing photography, doing work, and all that. So I just want to break that down. I have a little notebook just because I wrote down everything that happened as I was going along, just so I would remember it. So yeah, I mean, I drove to the airport all by myself, got on the plane. It's the first time I've ever flown by myself, like ever, to Europe, like by myself, really. So that was it was really cool. It was really smooth just because I'm so used to it. It was fine. But yeah, I got there, I got picked up by my aunt, which was really great. Actually, I got picked up by my uncle because my aunt wasn't home at the time, I believe, or she was working. But yeah, the first day and kind of that first amount of time, I was just in a small town in Ireland, just enjoying the city, the small city, and going for hikes on the mountains through the grass, just kind of seeing what Ireland looks like from the highest point. That was really cool. Just spending hours with my uncle talking about life, which was really eye-opening. And then I went into Dublin City, and my whole point of my kind of project was to kind of create a photo book about people's lives and people I meet, and random people that you meet in an instant. So I was walking around one of the colleges, just looking at architecture, looking at things to photograph, when I see a guy with a really cool shirt, and I have to talk to this guy because he's got a really cool shirt. I just want to talk to people, meet people. So I compliment his shirt, and he takes out his earbud and he says, "Pardon me, one more time, could you just repeat that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, your shirt's really cool." And he just lost it. He was so excited to talk. He invited me out for lunch to try this thing called a spice bag, which was amazing. I talked to him a lot about music and all that. It was really cool. And then, said goodbye, took his photo, and kind of went about my day in the rain now. And then I continued walking around, and I saw this kind of like art exhibit that I thought looked really cool. But they weren't like set up, but I saw two people inside. So I walked in and I said, like, "What's up?" And I ended up being invited to their art show, which was in 2 days. And I took their photos. They were really nice. One was from Turkey, one was from Brazil. And that was just a really cool experience. And then those 2 days later, I went back and they remembered me, and I got to see all the art set up, and it was really cool. And then I think what really was cool was that I was continuing to walk around one of these other days, and I saw people with a Canadian flag on their backpacks, and I went over and said, "Hey, my ancestry is also partially Canadian." And then we got into a big conversation. They invited me for lunch. And that was great. I remember asking them, like, if I'm intruding or anything, tell me to go, because that's the last thing I want to do. And they got so shocked that I said that. They were like, no, we invited you out here, like you do, like we want you here. So yeah, that was really cool. Just to talk to them. One was a forest restoration guy, and then the other one was a kelp forest restoration girl, and it was really cool. They had just met each other 2 hours before at the airport, just as strangers as well. So it was really great. I think also in Ireland, I realized that how much people judge a book by its cover. This is something that's going to come up later in the video as well when I talk about Madrid. But yeah, that happened, and this guy was fully tatted up, and he was getting in the process of getting another one. He was smoking a cigarette, looked really mean, but I thought it looked really cool. So I asked him to take a photo, and the first photo I have is him sticking out his tongue as like a joke, and the rest is him looking like mean. But I think that him sticking out his tongue is so powerful, because this mean guy you'd never expect to be silly or like goofy in that way. And I think that happens with everybody who may have been marginalized or judged by their cover. I think, speaking for myself, I'll speak for myself and for when I talk about Madrid as well. But yeah, I think Irish culture is probably one of my favorite cultures, just because of their openness, their ability to create comfort with anybody, and kind of how just genuine they are. Then I flew to Amsterdam, said goodbye to my aunt and uncle. I flew to Amsterdam by myself once again. It was fine. I met up with a friend there. When I like landed, we met up at the same time, which was great, in the airport, and we went to we just did a lot of things. Of course, we partied. We saw the city. We shopped a lot for really cool clothes. Honestly, there's not much to Amsterdam. I think it just made me realize that like the temporary pleasure relationships, romantic relationships, I should say, don't matter in the end. Like, really don't matter, and kind of pointless to pursue, just because they don't give you anything. That's what Amsterdam made me realize. But part of Amsterdam was going to visit my friend in Germany, which may have been the highlight, just because we traveled by train 2 hours. I met her on the swim team 2 years ago. She was a transfer or a temporary student doing study abroad. And so yeah, I got to meet her mom, which was great. Had some very traditional food, and finally just got to meet this miniature pony that she'd been talking about, Toffee. Just kind of made my trip. So yeah, that was amazing. And then from Amsterdam, I flew to Madrid for work, where I met one of the coolest Uber drivers. He had a really cool story. It actually matched one of the stories that my friend had written as a screenplay, which was really cool. But yeah, in this kind of advertisement that I was shooting for a program in Madrid, I tried to capture everything from the student's perspective. So no shot kind of reflects like not what it's not like to be a student in the program, which I think is really special and something that I'm having a hard time communicating to my employer at the moment. But we're just trying to work around that. It was a super social event. I got to meet so many people, and we got to see things like archaeology. We got to go up to the north of Spain, so like Burgos, San Sebastian, all that. It was amazing. I co-created with another artist just because I got hired for something separate. He got hired for something else, but we were both on the program together, and it was really cool to like see like us pushing each other to create like even more and better things. And then I left to Barcelona. I got sick just because. Oh, I'm just speeding through this. Actually, I'm gonna take it back to still in Madrid. So still in while in Madrid, I realized how much kind of drama happens amongst girls when they're together for 3+ weeks already. I got there and everybody was beefing with everybody. Everybody was mad at each other. So I kind of went in there feeling like a middleman, trying to calm everybody down. Did it work out in the end? No, but it worked out temporarily. Yeah, I mean, I was literally just hanging out with girls the entire time. Yeah, I thought I had gone in like, yeah, I might as well just be candid about it just because nobody knows about this, and or sees these videos or whatever. But that I know, I should say. Um, I met a girl there, and we went on what I thought were dates. Um, Turned out she had a boyfriend. She didn't tell me about it, and she didn't tell me about it until like a couple weeks ago. But she had a boyfriend. We had gone on these dates, and I had shown her some. We talked really deeply about stuff. So I mean, I felt a little let on, but more than anything, I felt like confused as to like not confused, but I knew I was going down a path that could have been bad. Just for my morals, like I would have felt bad if something had happened and then I had found out later. So yeah, I mean, we still talk and we're still friends. She doesn't know I have feelings, but like it's kind of whatever. Would have been long distance anyways, wouldn't have worked out. But she's one of the coolest people I've met. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It kind of just bummed me out in the end. It wasn't really like something that I was like devastated about, but like I was just a little bummed. Um, and then yeah, I mean, I hung out with a lot of the girls, and they were trying to like. Some of them were definitely giving me signals, and it was just I'm not ready for something like that. Something temporary. It's just not something after my past relationship that it's just not something I can do. Yeah, so that was Madrid. Then I went to Barcelona, and since I was with these girls, they had all gotten sick, and I was on a bus with them every day, multiple times a day. So inevitably, I got sick, and so when I took my train to Barcelona, I was incredibly sick with like a pretty bad cold. I got to Barcelona, I saw my cousin, it was great. I got there a day early. She thought I was coming a day later, which was really funny. I wasn't in the wrong. She had thought, really, she had thought that I was I was coming on a different day. But yeah, it was interesting. Barcelona was great. I think Barcelona has amazing food. I had like one of the best meals I've ever had. I couldn't believe what I was eating. I got to go to a cocktail party. I met some insane artists. I also shopped there. I got some amazing clothing. I just had like a blast taking photos. But yeah, I think yeah, I didn't address this at the beginning, but yeah, in Ireland, I had gotten notified that I had been accepted to my dream school from an appeal letter that I wrote from Not Giving Up. I forgot to mention this just because this trip was so transformative either way, but I'd been accepted while I was in Ireland, and my family helped me kind of set everything up so I could be here. So, I mean, it was a really amazing trip. This news elevated how amazing it was, but also added undue stress that I was already feeling trying to organize everything here. And, you know, the stress would have been way higher if it wasn't for my parents. So I have to thank them from the bottom of my heart, really. And, you know, I never, like, when I finally came home, all I did all day was edit these films or advertisements that I had already been commissioned for. But I think it's come to a point where it's difficult to be productive anymore, just because of like how depressed I am just from the sheer amount of like stress my body's gone through. I think it's really unfortunate to say, but like it's true. I feel like unmotivated every day, and I need to get that motivation back. And I think I'm going to get that motivation back today, just because there's just things that I have to do. And I think if I start that out like as soon as possible, my body will just go back to its normal routine of grinding. So yeah, I'm excited to finally be back at like that productive stage, just because like that's where when my depression will start to go away, when I know that I'm being productive and that I'm like actually putting work into like making shit happen. But yeah, I'm about to go to campus. I'm about to do some crazy work, see some friends maybe for lunch, and then continue doing more crazy work. The grind doesn't stop. But yeah, that all I really wanted to talk about was like that trip, and I'm excited to work on the photo book when I have time. Some of the photos are already looking pretty amazing. I'm really happy with how they're looking. But I really just need to get back to that grind time to be able to make time for the things that I want to make, not just finishing the things that I have to do. And I think that's kind of been the theme of like letting go and doing the stuff that I want to do, as well as making sure the stuff that I need to get done gets done. And yeah, that's just something that I need to work on, just so that I can stay happy, I think. But yeah, I think I've had some great conversations with people. I'm gonna go back to making these videos Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm gonna make sure that happens, just because it's what is good for me. But yeah, with that, that's all for me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. 2 days. Yeah. Peace.